working to become an American citizen. There's no way we're going to let folks come around and just gain citizenship because they said they're sorry. That's not right. So Saxby did get involved in that issue. He's going to continue to push for it. When he got involved in the debate, he took a lot of flack for it because he had his picture taken with a certain senator who's very liberal, but the bill was in that senator's committee, and if Saxby was going to have a voice on that issue, he had to work with him, and he had to go to the table and negotiate with him and work to deal with the problem. So Saxby took a lot of political heat for his even being involved in that issue, but he's willing to do that because he is the kind of senator that will work on the issues that are facing this country, and if it means he takes political heat, he's going to do that if he's doing the right thing, which he was back on that immigration debate. It continues to be a top priority for him.
Mr. Buckley, please.
I think we need to solve the illegal immigration problem. First of all, I think our immigration laws overall make sense. We bring in about 1 million people a year legally, and we typically lose about 250,000 people a year. But I think that the logic behind the law is actually overall is pretty good. As far as the illegal immigration problem, again, I have a solution. I think Saxby Chambliss was ready to sign Ted Kennedy's amnesty bill. Most people know that. But again, I do say we eliminate most of these foreign bases, put some of those troops on the Mexican border. They can train there and protect the border. Let me show you illegal immigration. Another chart for the GAO. Again, this is coming from the federal government. No, sorry, this is from the U.S. Census Bureau, Center for Immigration Studies. You can show illegal immigration is the black line growing. 2000, about 7 million illegal aliens, grew to 9.7, 2005. It's under the Republican leadership, and that grew for a reason. They were getting money from the manufacturers and the retailers. We're funding their campaigns. That's the reality of the situation. A lot of people in the Republican base are really fed up with the illegal immigration problem. And I'm one of the persons who's fed up with it as well. I think part of the role of the federal government is to make sure only legal people get in and not allow people to come over the Mexican border at will. And I live in Smyrna, and I've lived there over 20 years. In the late 80s, we had very few illegal immigrants from Mexico. Now, a significant portion of the billboards are in Spanish, and a lot of these people are illegal. I have a solution that involves pursuing the employers with significant penalties if they hire illegal aliens, simultaneously reducing entitlements for lower income people, so they have an incentive to go out and get jobs that are performed now by a lot of illegal aliens. So we simultaneously have created a need for people to get work that is now performed by illegal aliens, and we create a need for employers to get employees to fill the jobs that are done by illegal aliens. And we offer free bus transportation back to Mexico. I mean, a lot of these people I know are good people. They're not bad people, but we've got a problem that needs to be fixed. And I just think if you're here illegally, you're here illegally.
Okay. We have a more specific question about immigration, and this question is prepared by King Fan 10.
Hello, my name is Tim Tan. I'm the Georgia chapter of Legal Immigrant Association. My question is, of course, about immigration. Many people think we need to solve immigration issues in a piecemeal manner, while others suggest comprehensive reform. What is your stance on this issue, especially after the comprehensive immigration reform bill has been failed to pass the Senate last year? Should we always tie the issues of undocumented immigrants and documented immigrants together all the time? Thank you.
We need to solve, as I said, we need to solve this problem and move forward. And one of the solutions is amnesty, and Jim Martin, I think, proposes that. Saxby Chambliss will say he doesn't, but his record was he was going to sign Ted Kennedy's amnesty bill. Now, you put Saxby Chambliss back in at age 64, give him 6 years, he'll do whatever he wants. So, again, I think we need to have a reasonable immigration policy, and we need to strictly enforce it. Bring back those troops, and most of those foreign bases, put some of them on the border. I think our legal immigration policy makes a lot of sense. We bring in people for areas where there are job shortages. We bring in people who will create jobs. We allow in professional athletes. We allow in nurses because we have a nursing shortage. I think, right now we're letting about 1 million people here. Let me tell you something, with these financial problems that I talked to you about, one of the ways of solving them is bringing in huge numbers of people from foreign countries who make good incomes. I'm talking about entrepreneurs and educated people. For example, if we brought in 10 million people tomorrow and placed them in all the major metropolitan areas, don't get me wrong, I'm not in favor of this, and they all were educated, and they all were going to make more than $50,000 a year, you'd solve the housing problem like that. Because a lot of them would buy houses, and all of a sudden, demand would be in equilibrium with supply, or may even exceed supply. But you're going to see those type of solutions offered, and I think it'll come more from the Democrats than the Republicans, although I don't trust either one of them, as you can tell. But be fearful of that, because keep in mind that the geographic area of the United States does not grow. The geographic area of Atlanta, Georgia does not grow. So if you double the population by growing the population significantly to solve the financial problems, the entitlements problem, and I'll explain this further as I close, you're just making a problem bigger and bigger, because those people will eventually be entitled to their entitlements and their Medicare and their Social Security. And again, you put too many people in any particular area, things get difficult. So I'm in favor of keeping basically the same immigration policy we have, except solving the current problem and enforcing the laws. Right now, we've had legislation from the executive branch because they haven't enforced the laws.
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, please.
It's very easy to sit here as a candidate and say, oh, I like this, I don't like that. I know how Saxby would vote. He shouldn't have done this, he shouldn't have done that. It's a whole different ballgame to be in the United States Senate serving. Saxby engaged in the immigration debate because we have a problem, and he wanted to address it. The fact that the bill was in Ted Kennedy's committee is the way the Senate works. It's not that Saxby picked it or said, hey, I want to go work with Ted Kennedy on this. It's the way the Senate works. So, yes, Saxby did engage in that debate. His position on it did not change. If you go to our website, which has been up for a long time, you can hear video of Saxby speaking before it. What was his core values on the immigration situation during it and after it? He engaged in the debate to try to deal with the situation and fix it, whether it's one at a time or it's comprehensive. Something has to be done. And that's what he did. He will continue to fight for that. And I don't know how Mr. Buckley presumes to know how Saxby would have voted on a bill when Saxby said, I'm going to engage in this, we're going to have an amendment process, we're going to try to make a bad bill better, and if at the end of the day it's a good bill, I'll support it. If it's not, I won't. He voted against it at the end of the day because Harry Reid did not allow the amendments that we needed to get on there to make it a good bill. That's the facts, that's the way the Senate works, and Saxby's going to continue to work on that.
Here's one more follow-up question. As King had pointed out, there's concern if you guys like to work on this immigration bill, then are you going to handle this immigration bill for legal immigrants and illegal immigrants separately, or handle it together as a one comprehensive bill? What is your plan for that? Mr. Thompson, please.
A lot of how it's going to be addressed will depend on the composition of Congress, the Senate and the House, after the election, which is coming up in, I think, 9 days. If the Democrats are in control, they will set the agenda, they will make the committee assignments, they will run the process. If the Republicans are put in charge, they will alternately do that. So it's very different approaches based upon who is in the majority. So how Saxby is going to go about addressing it, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the election turns out. Obviously, he's up for his own re-election, so we'll see. When it's done, though, he's going to continue to fight to improve the system and deal with the problem.
Mr. Buckley.
These financial problems that I'm talking about, there are only really 3 solutions to them. There are only 3 solutions. One is tremendously greater taxes, and the GAO says if we keep on our current system of spending, we'll roughly have to double taxes by 2040. Again, Saxby's never proposed any significant spending cuts, not that I can find in this record. That's one solution. Another solution is tremendous immigration. And again, these are younger people who are far away from retirement, far away from getting Medicare and Social Security, who make a decent amount of money so you can tax them and help them pay the retirement pool. Because historically, our